Uh, Destil, you didn't miss anything of interest last week at all. Nothing
Oh,
of
great.
any importance happened whatsoever. That said, does anybody have a 100-word summary of the trouble you guys got into last week?
Strahd gave us a beautiful lunch.
Oh, it's back. Uh,
Calderon, I guess.
we went to Barovia for a day trip. We met Strahd. He gave us the schematics to a device that Aslan is supposedly planning to use to get to leave. And then he told us how we could possibly mess with that device, and gave us a small wizard and a amber to put in the device to snub Aslan, and that's it.
I still don't quite feel like we get the short end of the stick in this deal regardless with Strahd, because like if we beef Aslan's plans to get out of this land, then we're still stuck in this land with Aslan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this doesn't. This is what I brought up last time. I don't see a way that this really ends well for us.
Well, if we're gonna die anyway, right?
So here's the thing I have is, Strahd knows Aslan has this machine that could be used to escape. Why hasn't Strahd tried to take it?
Well, the
We
thing,
asked him that, and he said he didn't want to leave.
yeah. Well, Strahd also knows that he probably can't leave, but no, it's kind of at the point where we were given a wizard, and we don't have to do what Strahd says. We could certainly take the wizard and make an ally. We could go to Aslan and tell him Strahd's plan and say, "Hey, we found this guy who you might know," and there's lots of ways we could play it.
I feel that handing this guy over to Aslan would probably be
It's a terrible idea.
an
It's a dick
awful
move
idea.
for sure. We don't know
But
who
they
this guy is yet.
He could be Aslan's brother for all we know.
We need to talk to this guy, and then we'll start figuring out what we're going to do with him. And even letting him out of that amber is potentially dangerous, because Strahd implied that this guy was quite powerful.
Yeah, I mean, where we basically left it last week was we were going to start figuring out how to free this guy.
Yeah.
Basically, we've
need
got to
to
do some research on the.
Yeah, we didn't
amber.
commit to we didn't commit to actually freeing. We just said we were going to figure out how to free him.
That sound correct?
We also have to solve the mystery of Tech Tech.
Yes, we cannot let Tech Tech's memory fade.
Justice for Tech Tech.
Oh yeah, is it 3 or 4 guys? I forget. They also applied to join the militia.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a little distressing, because if they become, prominent members of the community who have, military or, martial pull,
we don't.
then
We
we're
just
heading
want
towards a bad situation where we start losing control.
yes, we don't want to slaughter our village. But now that Destil is back, Victor is going to have Destil build a stone statue of Tech Tech out by the goat yards, out by the goat
No.
pens.
No.
You're going to commemorate your goat herd?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, here's the situation as I see it: is the justice system that Ekon has created, it is starting to cause problems for us in terms of our ability to administrate the town. And, from his perspective, I understand why he did it that way, because, in a fair and equitable society, the Duchess can't just kick in your door and hit you with a truth ray whenever she wants. But I need you guys to understand, this is very inconvenient. But I do have a potential idea for how we may be able to get some answers. Because I suspect that the situation we're in now is, we're pretty sure we know who did this, but we can't prove it. So there's legally nothing we can do. Anything we do would be basically us breaking our own laws. But what we can do, and, follow me on this, there may be witnesses to this crime that we have not thought of, because this murder took place at the goat pen, there are probably goats who
Does
saw what
anybody have
happened.
speak with animals?
And we have a druid in town who may be able to help us speak to animals.
I like this.
Because the goats probably saw what happened. And then what you do at that point is, I mean, you can't put a goat on the stand. A goat can't really be a witness, I don't think. This isn't Phoenix Wright.
Through the power of air, he can.
But what we do is, if we interrogate a goat, and the goat tells us what happens, then what you do is you take one of the guys who did it, who's kind of wobbly and maybe isn't as strong-willed as the others, and you say, we've got a witness who saw you do it. We know exactly what happened. Then you describe exactly what happened at the crime, and then you see if you can get him to implicate the others to save his own skin. That's what they do in cop shows.
I don't think that's gonna work.
Saul is also a fan of Lenny and Briscoe era Law and Order.
Okay, why do you think it won't work?
Because goats are stupid.
Are they?
It doesn't matter how smart the goat is. You ask the goat, "Did you see who killed Tech? What happened?" And then they could describe what they saw.
I mean,
I support this plan 100%.
I mean, if you can get it done, go for it. I mean, the worst that'll happen is that it makes you look foolish.
I mean, I could definitely see a situation where, the Duchess interrogated a goat. That's just going to make her look crazy.
Victor will
So
do
you
it.
so you have to do this on the down low.
Well,
You
you just get Victor to do it, or you
yeah,
get Genie
Victor
to
will
do it. Genie or Victor, like Genie already has a terrible, reputation in town, I imagine.
And
If
Victor
Victor-
really like Tech.
If Victor wants to take this responsibility on, then I'm okay with that.
Victor will absolutely do this.
So how is Victor going to speak to a goat?
He's going to have the druidess do it. He's going to commission the druidess to talk to the goat to find out what happened.
Okay. So Victor is going to set up a meeting with the druidess. Bear with me a moment. I can pull up my list of NPCs here that I definitely have.
The Prosta Druidess.
The what?
The brothel druidess.
Prosta Druidess.
Prosta druidess?
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that word.
She's not a prostitute. She's the madam.
Okay.
Mento.
So the madam of the brothel is Zophie, and her wife Beata is the one who you suspect is a druidess. She's the one who's a skilled healer and herbalist. So who's going to set up, or who's going to go to this meeting to ask Beata to interrogate your goats?
Does anybody come with Victor, or is he going to do this alone?
I think for PR reasons, Evie can't be involved in this.
I am not going.
Edmont, do you want to come?
But I also don't. But
Okay, I guess Victor will go alone.
It's like Victor's like, yes, let's go interrogate the goats, and then like
Vic-
3/4 of the family's like, that's dumb. You're dumb. Good luck.
Victor will take Orson because Orson is well known and liked at the brothel.
Well, if you take him, you might not get anything done.
Yeah, bear with me one moment. Okay. Beata is going to charge you 25 gold pieces for this service.
I'm pretty sure we got the money for that.
But are you willing to erase the money off your character sheet is the question.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Oh.
Then Victor and Orson and Beata go down to the goat pens. And she has a 10-minute conversation with some goats. Of a sort that you're kind of familiar with because you've seen some of your family members communicate via comprehend languages. This is kind of the same thing, except she's actually making the animal noises, the bleats and whatnot. What you learn is that the goats were fond of Tek Tek, and that one day Tek Tek was in charge of them. And they described the things that Tek Tek used to do that they liked, how brushing out of coats and I don't know how to take care of goats, but Tek Tek did a good job. But one day he wasn't there. And the conclusion seems to have been, if this murder took place at night, the goats would have been asleep in their pen and could not have witnessed anything. Victor, make an insight check.
It's going to be a 14.
14. So, not the answer that you wanted, but if the goats were asleep, then that's the end of it. It'd be no different than if a murder took place in your manor next to your bedroom while you were asleep. You would have no way to be aware of it. You, of course, could still tell Evie to tell people that, yeah, the goats saw everything.
Victor will relay that information, along with the suggestion that you could always lie and say the goat saw it.
Well, no, because the idea is we would have to have specific information about the murder to be able to make the murderers think that we knew what was going on. And if the ghost didn't see anything, we don't really have anything to go on.
Part of me wonders if we tell these guys that the goats saw what happened, are the goats going to be dead the next morning?
Probably the goats that you have remaining are not up for slaughter. You have enough for a small breeding population at this point.
Well,
most of the goats that Tek Tek showed up with were slaughtered over the course of the winter.
No, it's more than if we say the goat saw you did it, and the person actually did it, wouldn't they want to kill the witness?
Well, if we go up to them and tell them that the goat saw them do it, they're going to laugh in our face. That's what's going to happen.
And they're gonna run around and tell people that we're crazy.
Yeah. It was a good shot, but
It's the only idea I have left now. I really don't know what to do. Does anyone else have any potential leads?
I mean, aside from shadowing and following these guys and just generally keeping an eye out.
I mean, I feel
Edmont
like
has tried that.
Yeah,
following
we
them
both tried that.
around and hoping that they accidentally admit to the crime, I don't think is going to be very fruitful.
So Evie,
Yeah,
here's the kind of conclusion. You're at a point where you think you know who did this.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the authority to punish the people responsible. And there's no reason for anyone to gainsay you. If you tell the village, these are the men responsible, this is the punishment, no one's going to stand in your way or tell you otherwise. So the question is, do you punish these men or do you let them off?
I mean, I can't prove it.
That's not the question, though. The question is, like, you're not going to be able to prove it, and the trail's only going to get colder from here. If you can't prove it today, it's not likely you're going to be able to prove it next week or next month or next season either. Mm-hmm. And the memory of this is already starting to smooth over and fade in the village. It's already yesterday's news. It's something that happened earlier in the winter, and people have moved past it. If you don't act on it now, you're going to lose your chance to act on it at all. And you're at the point where the investigation is all hit the blinds. Are you going to punish the men or not?
I'm trying to think, what would Ruby do in this situation? I think Ruby would just have these guys disappeared. Like, these guys, she can't make anything stick to them, but she knows there's going to be problem down the line, you just get rid of them.
So remember, if people forgot about Tech this quick, they'd also forget about these guys.
Yeah, but I don't want to banish these guys and then find out someone else did it. But if we leave these guys around, I feel like they're just going to cause problems.
To be clear, Ruby was never really in this position. Ruby was not in like an administrative role as Duchess. Ruby was a noble and she was in charge of your household, but it never fell to her to mete out criminal investigations and legal punishments and things. The closest thing that has happened recently would have been where she paid that librarian to leave the city so as not to cause problems for her family.
That is not quite how I would describe that situation.
So my opinion, if you want to hear it, is that we have investigators and constables, and if they can't figure it out, don't worry about it. And if they cause problems later, then we'll squash them then.
Yeah, I feel like kind of the only thing we can do is just keep an eye on them.
Like, seriously, just leave them alone. Like they're not worth our time, energy, or any of that stuff.
They're not worth the dark power checks it's going to take.
I mean, like,
that does seem to be the actual question here. Do you want to make a dark powers check? Because I do feel like punishing someone without evidence would be an abuse of power.
I mean, so at this point with Victor's psyche, if he knew for certain that they were guilty of this, he would probably kill them in their sleep. But he's not certain they did it.
Yeah, so I don't feel like we can punish them. I don't think Evie is going to... She's definitely going to remain suspicious of these guys, but I don't think she's going to banish them or anything like that.
Okay. And you also wanted to do something with Tenny.
We wanted to introduce her to the to Beata, I think.
I put that question to her before, and she, gave me the runaround. She didn't want to commit.
Wait,
to
we actually came to kind of a decision on that, and it was like level 1 in noble, and then whatever she wants to do.
Okay.
To give her time, like basically the level 1 in noble is her primary school, and then like when she gets done with that, she can then go like seek out vocational training. I guess, I don't know.
Okay.
Right, like we can teach her how to make a house relic and the basics of the house spells and all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just do want her to have some ability to defend and take care of herself in a dangerous situation, because this is a dangerous world.
I can't
think
imagine
basically-
when that would be relevant.
I think Victor and Evie got overruled on what they want her to do.
Well, Evie wanted her to make a decision, and she wouldn't, so keep going with her noble training is kind of the default.
Well, that's because Evie doesn't know how to deal with children.
Hey.
Does Victor?
Victor was just going to tell her what to do.
That's one way to deal with children.
I mean, that's what we're doing now. We're saying, okay, you're going to keep learning noble. I gave you a choice, and you said, I don't really have a choice. So, okay.
No, she was right.
It's a Ruby order of coaching.
She could have said, I want to be a druid. She could have said, I want to be a rogue. She could have said, I want to be a noble.
But you could have said you're going to go be a druid because that's the best fit, but instead you said you're going to be a noble, even though she absolutely hated the noble thing. Evie just isn't good with children.
Anyway, don't worry about Victor. You can poison him later.
Poison him now. So, you have a tiny little man in this amber-colored jewel that is warm to the touch, the same way that touching a live body is warm. And you were told by none other than Strad von Zarovic that this tiny little man is a wizard of considerable talent who originated from the same world that Azalin Rex did, and would be very disruptive to Azalin's plans to try to escape.
Yeah, he essentially told us that this here's a wizard, put him on the chair, and it'll expend the chair's powers and send this man back to Earth and leave Azalin stranded, and it'll be funny.
The schematic that you have is that any magically inclined person, if they sit in the chair of the Rift Spanner, the Rift Spanner will drink their power. However, if a person from Earth sits in the chair, it will expend the power to attempt to send them home instead. But he does agree that it would be really funny, and it would disrupt Azalin's plans.
And get us instantly murdered, yes.
What?
He seemed less
Yeah.
concerned about that part.
Yeah. No. So that's why that's not a good option to go with.
Also,
I think it would be kind of, we're giving a guy to Aslan thinking that he's going to suck out his soul. That seems like we're putting a guy in a really bad situation.
also, just a quick heads up, like this is not like a feasible way for us to get home.
No.
This machine cannot use to send us home. It would take, hundreds of souls over hundreds of years for one trip.
Genie, like I said, the schematic has key details left off. Like, you could not build this machine. But
Right.
the studying you've done on the schematic, based on the way that Strahd explained it, no, this would not be a viable escape method for you and your family the way that it's currently built. Like, there would be no way to steal this machine from Azalin or wrest control from it and then use it.
Right. That's. I'm just throwing that out there. It's like, I don't think this is so. But we obviously can't be drunk.
No, Victor just wants to let this guy go and basically set him free.
Well,
And hopefully we learn something in the process.
here's what I want to know is if the machine already has enough juice to send someone home, why hasn't Aslan used it?
Because he's not sure it'll work.
It's a good question.
Yeah, he wants to make sure it works.
I'm not entirely convinced that Strahd was shooting straight with us. I
No,
think
he absolutely wasn't.
whatever happens when he uses this machine will be very funny from Strahd's perspective, but I think it might not work out well for anyone else.
So the way I see it is, again, what Victor said. Step one, we figure out at least how to free this wizard. Then we decide that we can make the decision to free him later.
Because the details of Strahd's story do not add up, so I do not think we should do what he told us to do.
I think we should look into the origin of this machine.
Here's what I think we should do, is if we're going to start taking the steps that we're going to need to defend ourselves from Aslan, we're going to need help. And you know who's like the best person I could possibly imagine to face someone like Aslan would be Platin.
Yeah, I'm thinking we do the crystal wood.
Well, he might too, but here's the thing about Platin is I'm not sure Aslan even knows about him, which means he can do stuff that we can't.
I mean, we'd have to go get Platin from this. We'd have to rescue Platin from the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, well, I feel like
in addition to that, Platin doesn't want to leave because he's helping the people in the zombie apocalypse.
We'd have to kidnap him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we might be able to help the people. We have land. We can bring people here.
Not an entire realm.
This sounds like an entire city is besieged by this thing. Like, we don't have the space or the infrastructure to handle such a big influx of people.
I think it's safe to say that abduction and kidnapping from the zombie apocalypse realm is not a good option. I just don't think that's viable.
That sounds like a very slow and long way to make a lot of Dark Powers checks.
Okay.
Well, I still think that our best bet is maybe look into some way to search out the origin of this device.
Well, I mean, Aslan built it, didn't he?
Well, the Iron Crystal might know.
I think what we should do is we should start assembling knowledge. Just any information, any knowledge books that we can assemble. We need it. We need to start putting that together. We need to get as much information as we possibly can.
That's a good idea, but I think we also need to have ways to safeguard that knowledge, because I feel like if Aslan starts to smell that we have, knowledge and information that he might want, he might start asking us questions.
Of course.
We need some way, because, I mean, Evie knows that Aslan has some ability to see what's going on in his realm, because he's done it to her before. She had a vision of him back when we were in the Halfling village. So it's not entirely clear to her how much Aslan can see of what's going on. Like he probably can't see through the mist, and we are surrounded by mist where we are. But I have a hard time believing that he would send us someplace where he wouldn't be able to keep tabs on us.
Yeah, no, at this point, our best source of knowledge is getting this guy out of the crystal, because maybe he'll know something about Aslan since we're in the same realm.
We also have, Jeannie hasn't told everybody this. Jeannie, just all she tells you, like, you the players know that we hired, I promised 450 gold pieces to Van Richten, when is Van Richten supposed to come, Brick Road?
Some number of weeks by the end of spring, I think it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's like the authority.
So, but all Jeannie has said is she has contracted a knowledge source to come to the village, and that after her consultation, we can maybe coordinate with him for some additional information.
So as far as the tiny wizard you're in possession of, what is done with that?
I mean, I don't know.
Victor keeps him around at all times except for when he's sleeping, and then he keeps him close but hidden.
I was going to suggest put him in the mirror room, which we already have someone warded.
Yeah.
I could just become a catch-all storage for magical shit we probably shouldn't be messing with.
You're describing like the Ghostbusters basement?
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing will go wrong if we put everything in there.
Yeah, I'm a little weary of putting stuff in there that might have potential interactions with each other. Like, this is like a sealed dude in a room with like another sealed dude.
Listen,
Victor wants to keep him on person.
So
listen, the trap is green.
let me ask this question, and just get a thumbs up or thumbs down from each of you. Wake up the man inside the jewel. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
I guess thumbs up.
Let's do it somewhere not here.
Is that a thumbs up?
Yes, but
Okay.
not in the village.
So let's focus on that plan for now then. Since we're all this is probably going to take some amount of research to figure out exactly what the jewel is and what magics will have to be put in place. So looking at your character sheet, your class features, your spells, anything you have access to, what is the single best thing each of you thinks you could contribute to freeing this man from this jewel?
I have a divination that I can ask Air a fairly specific question as long as we're planning to do it within 7 days.
Okay.
So here's the problem with that, Destil. That's not air. What if it's Aslan?
Well, then I
Anything
can
that
ask Aslan. He might know better because he's more informed on the specifics.
I think tipping Aslan off that we are doing this could end very badly.
So, but what's Jeannie's then? Like, what's the best thing Jeannie can think of, based on her skills and class features and spells and everything, to free this man from this jewel?
Spells and class features. Spells, I don't really have. I've got.
You have
Base.
Identify.
I have basic identify and my Arcana skill, and
Okay.
just my general background in experimenting with magical items.
And a monstrous bonus to checks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could
and
tell
then-
us what
and an
this
arc-
thing is.
and
That's a
an
good
arc-
start.
And a minimum of plus 14 on Arcana checks.
So, are we going with identify spell or?
Can I go with my Arcana skill? I feel like
So
that would be a little more-
so what you're saying is you want to take it down into your lab and kind of run it through the gamut of your
Right.
standard magic item
Yes.
tests.
Yes.
So run your research, okay?
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything to add?
Can I pickpocket him out of the crystal?
I mean, you could try. I like to imagine Victor just sitting there holding it, just like poking at it with his fingers, trying to.
I mean, I have telepathic communication to try and talk to the guy and see if there's a way he knows anything to get him out.
So you tried that last week, and eventually you
Yeah.
had to shut off the connection. But that doesn't mean you can't redouble your efforts and continue trying it and try to learn something from it.
I mean, that's basically all I got. Unless I can map it or steal it. Or pour water on it. You got the decanter of endless water.
What you can try that too. So I'll put Victor down for telepathy. What does Edmont and Evie have?
I could history check, try to dig into the books and see if there's been anything like this in the past.
So you're doing what, like library research?
Yeah.
And what does Evie have?
I mean, Evie stabs things. This is way outside her wheelhouse. I think the best thing I could do would be to support someone else, and like I have like the reroll ability so I could help someone else with their efforts. I think is the best way I can help.
Help who? Ekon is going to be divining with air. Jeannie is going to be researching in her lab. Edmont's going to be poring over books, and Victor is going to be trying to commune telepathically.
I think Jeannie probably doesn't need my help. I can help Edmont.
Okay.
You do have that knack for languages. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, I do have. I'm trained in history too.
All right, here's what I want. Ekon, I would like a religion check, please.
You got it.
Jeannie,
Uh-huh.
I would like an arcana check. Victor, I would like a charisma saving throw. Edmont, I would like a history check. Make this add advantage, please.
Can we apply whatever bonuses we can scrape together to this?
As long as you can apply the bonus yourself. Like, Ekon's not going to be
Yes.
able to go around and bless everybody individually.
Right, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's a 19 for Victor's charisma saving throw.
Okay.
All right. So that's...
It's a 17 on religion.
Okay.
That's a 31.
And I take it I should mark off the components for a divination.
Yeah, if you've actually cast the divination spell.
Yeah.
Or you could just say that you've spent the time sequestered in prayer or something, looking for divine inspiration that way, however you want to do it. Gina, you got what?
31.
That's a cheating number there. And Edmont, what'd you get?
I got a 20.
A 20. God, you guys might have cracked this in like 1 week.
This is what House Veritas does.
Yeah,
That's true.
to be fair, this is kind of in our
I mean, the
wheelhouse.
one thing we're actually good at,
We're bad at everything else about Ravenloft.
but you give us a magic item and say, what is this? We're on it.
You're on it. Yeah, it only takes a week of work. You guys blew past my DC. Okay. But what I did is basically I just added up everything over a 15, and a cumulative 25 would crack the jewel, and you guys got it in 1 week. Jeannie, whatever you're doing in your lab is working, because you learn quite a lot about this.
Science.
This is only what she's been practicing for her entire life.
There's a small explosion. Genie comes out covered in soot. It's covered in soot.
Eureka!
It's like, you got it!
So at the end of the
That's
week,
canonically what happens.
with your combined efforts, here are some things that you confirm over the course of the week. Jeannie, you determine that the jewel is not really a magic item. It's not an object at all. It's difficult to describe. You would describe it as more of a process. Not a biological or natural process either. The closest thing you can come up with is a conceptual process. This person inside is imprisoned by the idea of being imprisoned, and this jewel is the physical manifestation of that idea. Victor, you never actually managed to have a conversation with the consciousness inside, but you confirm that there is a consciousness, and you confirm that it is from Earth, and also from a lot of other places.
Creepy.
That's troubling.
Ekon and Edmont. Well, I'll ask this. Ekon, did you actually cast the divination spell? Because we can...
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
mark off the components.
Let's go ahead and... So what question are you going to ask? What course of action are you asking about?
I will ask a question of error. What might we learn about this tiny wizard to further our goals in this land? If we were to seek that knowledge.
You're told something that sounds kind of contradictory to you. The consciousness inside the jewel, above all things, if awoken, will seek redemption. But the shape of that redemption will be unlike anything you're used to in your church. Edmont, you and Evie mostly uncover details about how people are magically imprisoned, like trap the soul kind of stuff. There's lots of, especially in Darkhan, there's lots of old stories, and especially if you confer with Koyana, the Vistani have stories like this stretching back generations. But based on what you're hearing from Ekon and Victor and Jeannie over the course of the week, you don't think that's what's happened here. The man is definitely imprisoned, but it wasn't done with foul, dark magic. There's not going to be powerful blowback. Aslan's not going to apparate in front of you and make demands. The thing that created the process that trapped this man is wholly different from any sort of black magic in any of the books that you've researched. All that said, at the end of a week, Jeannie, you have built a small apparatus that, if charged with enough spell slots, will undo the jewel. So this is going to require one person over the course of several days, or all 5 of you over the course of like 1 or 2 days, to unravel the magic and let the man free.
How many
Let's do it.
spell slots is it going to take?
That's going to require a roll. Nothing is certain.
Okay, nothing is certain. All right. First,
Do you think the power of the spell slot matters?
Possibly.
Yeah, higher level spell slot will count for more, yes.
Go ahead and take 3/3 and 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'll drop all 7 of my spell slots in there.
Are Jeannie
I have a
and
house, I
Ekon
have a
doing
house
this?
relic slot.
Those count.
Yeah, Victor
the first.
knows.
Well,
Okay.
Evie has 2 second level slots.
Okay, so all 5 of you then are going to invest magic into this ritual, yes?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's what I want from each of you.
Mhm.
By default, your spellcasting ability score is intelligence, because that's your noble at first level. But you can substitute a spellcasting ability score from any class that you have. So Ekon, you could use wisdom if you prefer. I think Jeannie is still intelligence either way.
Yeah.
So I need a spellcasting ability check from each of you.
Okay.
That is not going to be good for me, Evie.
4.
It's 14.
12.
17. 17.
Jeannie got a 17.
Mm-hmm.
We're not adding any...
Edmont has a 4. Victor has what?
No, Victor has a 14.
Apologies. Do we add our proficiency bonus to this? Or is this just straight intelligence?
No proficiency
No, you
bonus.
don't typically add proficiency to spell.
Just straight intelligence. And Evie, what did you get?
12.
12. Okay.
Intelligence is not Evie's best stat.
Okay. Ekon.
Yeah.
Bear with me just one moment. Actually, I'm going to start with Edmont because he rolled the best.
You have an interesting definition of best, Brick Road.
Edmont, you need to invest 4 spell slots into the ritual, or it will fail.
That's 4 hours.
Well, it needs to be done all at once. You got to cash it all in.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
How many spell slots do you have?
1.
1. So you can do 1 spell slot and 3 levels of exhaustion.
Okay.
Okay? Everyone
All right.
else beat the DC. I'm sorry, not 4 levels, 6 levels. I did math correctly. So you're taking,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, are you gonna?
you're
That's
taking
bad.
5 levels of exhaustion then.
That's death if I do that.
Death isn't 5 levels of exhaustion, it's 6
6.
levels.
It's 6 levels. Yeah, no.
So you'll be extremely exhausted and will need a couple weeks to recover. But it's your choice. You can either make that expenditure or you can allow the ritual to fail.
We'll make that expenditure.
All right. Expend your spell slot. You take 5 levels of exhaustion.
That's what, 5 days of recovery, or is that longer than that?
I don't expect you guys will be going on an adventure in the next 5 days anyway.
Okay.
The only thing is, I'm pretty sure he drops unconscious immediately.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
Hold on. I actually have
5 levels of
the...
exhaustion has monstrous penalties.
Like
Yeah.
he's half. He's still conscious. He's just
Speed
he's
is 0.
0.
Max HP is cut in half. Disadvantage on everything. Yeah, it's not pleasant.
Disadvantage and everything. Hit point max have. Yeah.
Ekon,
Life is terrible.
you can expend up to 4 slots.
4
Spell
slots or 4 levels of slots?
Either or.
Yeah, I'll throw a 4th level slot into it.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to do a 3rd and a 1st.
Okay. You're putting in the full 4 that you're able to?
Yeah.
Genie, you can put in up to 7.
Oh, up to 7. So I have 2, 4, 6. I'm doing math. Hold on.
Yep.
I'll put in all 5 of my level 1 slots. So that's my 4 Artificer and my Noble,
Okay.
and then 1 level 2 slot.
So what's the total? That gets you
7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. Victor, you can put in up to 4.
I have 1 spell slot.
Well, you can put in 1 spell slot and 3 levels of exhaustion if you choose.
Let's do it. Victor wants to see what this guy has to say.
So you're at level 3 exhaustion. And Evie, you can put in up to 2 slots.
You could take one of my level 2s.
Okay. So everybody's putting in the maximum that they can. Edmont didn't have a choice because he did so well on the roll.
Again, you that's a really interesting definition use of the word best.
Where are you guys performing this ritual? Is this in Genie's lab or is this in your giggle dungeon? Where are we at?
I'm gonna say Giggle Dungeon.
I thought the one thing that anyone had strong opinions on was that Evie didn't want it to be done anywhere in the village.
Okay. So you would have taken this out into the wilderness or something?
I mean, maybe not far, but some place where the village doesn't see us doing this weird black magic stuff, and also if this guy is hostile, he doesn't destroy the entire village.
What
Okay.
about that graveyard? Does anybody go there? I'm assuming not.
I mean, no more than anyone would visit a cemetery. There's superstition wrapped around it. But it's also a quiet, out-of-the-way place that nobody visits, which...
Oh, we also have the underground catacombs.
I would recommend a calm grove of silverwood trees that we're aware of somewhere around here. Probably like stumps and ones we've worsted, just because there's be no reason for anyone to go out there.
How far away from the village? Like, in terms of hours it would take to travel there.
Half a day?
Well,
Mile?
here's the problem: is Edmund can't walk.
Well, he can walk
Well,
out
you can't
there.
before we perform the ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll get out there just fine.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, not far.
Okay.
A couple hours, probably.
The genie sets the device down and explains what everybody's going to have to do. You channel magic into it. Edmont, you feel it pull really, really hard. More so than anyone else. And after a few seconds, you black out and hit the ground. And your head is swimming, and your vision is hazy, and your ears are ringing. Victor and Evie are also not feeling too hot. As the thing is just sapping magical energy. And it disrupts the process. And the first thing that you all are aware of is this incredibly loud, very pained, just a man screaming out. And then in front of you is a wet, naked, scrawny man sprawled on the ground, heaving his breath. Fairly old, beyond middle age. His hair is stock white, and it covers from his top of his head down the side of his face, this big bushy beard, all down his chest and his down to the unmentionables. Heaving, breathing terribly raggedly, and you can see, starting at the base of his neck, down his shoulders and his back, terrible scars. Very, very old, but terrible scars. He is pale, and there's this thick smell of ozone in the air as the magic is dissipated. Cries out in agony, hits the ground. And you can see he's already trying to get up to his feet and failing badly.
Victor will try and help him up as best he can with all the exhaustion.
And when you
check on Edmont,
you step forward, and as you do, he swats your hand away violently with his own, and he starts saying things in short, unintelligible bursts, speaking a language that have never learned.
We'll take a step back of being swatted away.
Okay.
I mean, I'll cast comprehend languages. I got plenty of spell slots.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I've got tongues. I can talk to him potentially. Yeah, I'll use that instead.
Ekon loves tongue.
Please don't say that.
Think we've ever seen this spell cast before, have we?
not in this campaign.
So you're casting tongues on yourself?
I'll also cast it on Evie.
Okay.
I've got 2 slots left at 3rd level.
The man is barking unintelligibly, especially towards Victor. He swats Victor away when he tries to help. And he's not saying anything of importance. Get away from me, damn it. I can't see anything. I can't breathe. It sounds more angry than anything. But the one thing you pick out that he says a couple times over the course of a few seconds, it seems to be at the forefront of his mind. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. Edmont, you're conscious, but you can't move.
Only just, yeah.
You're kind of cradled in Evie's lap at the moment, watching the spectacle play out.
Falling in and out of consciousness.
We're not trying to give you anything. It's probably been a while that you've been inside that crystal. Just try and relax and take in what's happened.
The man lifts his head and looks at you. And he has this weathered, leathery skin, and you can see that his left eye is blown out with the same kind of scar that crisscrosses his back. Milky white, obviously blind.
Is he blind in that he has both eyes, or just the left eye is bad?
His right eye looks fine. His left eye is completely blown out. Who am I? Where am I? Who are you people? I told you I don't want it. And he stands up, shakily, trying to get to his feet, dripping with some kind of ectoplasmic substance, and starts looking around, trying to get his bearings.
I'll move over to pick up my brother from Evie's grasp and nod towards her to, you want to talk to the guy, you're the Duchess.
You find yourself in the domain of Has Veritas in the land of New Warren.
And he's glancing around between all 5 of you. Is anybody carrying an open water skin or wine skin visible?
I mean, we all have them, I assume.
All of you do?
Pack.
Yeah. And Victor has a decanter probably hanging on his belt or something too.
Victor just wants this guy to drink from the decanter of endless water, doesn't he?
Well, that would be pretty funny.
Maybe if he's thirsty.
Evie, you're the one addressing him. He turns towards you, and you can see he's laser focused on your water skin. It's water, damn you! And he hands out his hand. And you realize if you don't hand him the wine skin, he's going to march forward and wrestle it off of your body.
I'll hold it out to him.
And he takes it, and he drinks it, upends it, greedily. And it sloshes down his face and across his chest, and every single drop. He flings it at your feet, turns to Jeannie standing next to you. More! And reaches out towards you.
Jeannie doesn't have an open wine. She keeps everything in her bag of holding.
I guess.
And also, she.
I guess
she
Ekon
can't
would be next in line then.
Ekans would be in his pack, but sure, he'll fish it out.
Okay. And he upends Ekon's as well. Although, he uses part of yours after he takes a couple of large swallows, just dumping it over his hair and is using his hands to wash away some of this ectoplasmic goo.
Somebody should tell him he can take a bath back at our place.
Who am I? Why have you brought me here? He's addressing
I was
Evie
hope-
at this point.
I was hoping you could tell us who you are.
And he loses his strength and drops down to the ground, breathing heavily. Who are you? What is your name? Where have you brought me?
I am Evelyn Veritas, Duchess of this land.
Duchess. He shakes his head, looks at the ground, kind of confusedly.
I suspect
Yes.
you're a long way from home.
Duchess. Duchess is my name. I am Duchess.
Are you sure about that?
No, Duchess. Duchess is a woman. A boy Duchess. The boy Duchess is what?
A duke?
And all at once, his head stops shaking. Yes, the Duke.
Oh no.
That is my name.
Oh no. Oh no.
McDohl, are you okay?
Oh yeah.
I'm not okay right now, Brick Road. I'm not okay.
McDohl, why are you not okay?
I think I know who this is, but I'm not going to say anything.
Why have you brought me here? What are you the Duchess of? What is this place?
We found you locked in some kind of magical... What did you call it, Jeannie? A process? Yeah, you've been imprisoned for what seems to have been a very long time.
You see these grabbing at the soil and grass around him with his hands. Let's get some... I'll let somebody make me an insight check.
I can do that.
Can I do it at disadvantage? No, I won't do that.
I don't think you're in much of a state to help anyone. But if someone helps you with this, I can make it at advantage, maybe?
I could help, but my insight's not that great.
I mean, none of us can understand what he's saying,
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe you're-
except like the only
I
one
mean, you
that
guys
can
can
help.
cast comprehend languages. Too.
You wouldn't need to understand him to make this check.
Is
Alright,
it like
well.
is this an everybody a check or a one person check?
Yeah, everybody can make this. This is fine.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I'm going to attempt it at disadvantage then.
Yeah, it's fine.
Evie got a 19.
Okay.
That's a 20 for Victor.
That is a insight.
17.
24.
That is a 23.
So everybody killed this one, even Edmont, who is not here. What's interesting about his body language is the way that he's digging through the soil with his fingers. It's like he's relishing just the tactile feedback of having his fingers and hands touch something.
He just needs to touch grass.
And it starts to dawn on you the gravity of this guy might have been locked in that jewel for centuries. You all played Psychonauts. You've seen that cool level.
Yeah.
He does seem to start calming down, though. I need food. He looks around. What is there to eat in this place?
I have.
Rail rations for now, but we have more back at our village.
I'll have them. And he stands up again, gets to his feet. And he's looming over Edmont, expectantly. And he shows you his hand.
Edmont very weakly reaches into his pack, very deliberately pulls out a block of hardtack,
Okay.
hands it up to him, and as soon as the guy snatches it out of his hand, his arm drops to his chest, dead weight.
Edmont, you have never seen somebody enjoy eating hardtack before. But this man is relishing every bite of it. He looks down at you again. What's your problem? Are you sick? Are you dying?
Damn near.
He expended a great deal of his own energy to free you from that prison. You should be grateful to him.
Gratitude. And he looks down at he looks like he's seeing his own body for the first time.
I would say you owe us one.
I have nothing to give you. Gratitude is free, I suppose.
Information.
Depends on what's on the inside of your skull.
We freed you seeking information.
Can we talk to him now? Is that what's going on?
Well, I'm assuming you're conveying this through Evie and Ekon.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
I mean, I could get more food if he's still hungry.
Yeah, we can. We have a lot of food if we need.
He will
You need to make a
ravenously
trap.
eat anything that you hand him.
Maybe we should
hand
give
him-
him some cloak or something, because he's naked.
He's extremely naked. And very hairy.
So not really naked.
I got a spare set of commoner clothes, but they're presumably women's.
Yeah.
Do you offer them to him?
I'll pull out from my bag of holding. I'll pull out 5 full days of rations, and then 2 bottles of wine.
This guy's getting the VIP treatment.
I think the only person here who might have clothes that would fit this man would be Ekon, because Ekon's a big boy.
Ekon does. That guy that stole our horses stole my extra clothes.
Damn it.
You have not replaced your extra clothes in the year we've been here.
Nope. It's not on my character sheet. I was expecting to leave the village and go for a walk for an hour. I wasn't packing an extra set of clothing.
That's fair. It's not like you have It's not like you have a cousin with a magical bag of holding.
So the man
I
greedily
assumed you had clothing in there.
I do.
the man
me.
greedily accepts whatever you give him. Food, wine, clothing. If you give him clothing that doesn't fit, he tries to make do. Like he'll pull the trousers on, he'll pull a skirt over his head. He is not being choosy at the moment.
At least we'll try to give him a set of pants. The cloak.
So you guys are trying to do what you can to make him comfortable and to assuage his demands at first, as far as food, water, clothing.
Yeah, it's hard being in prison.
Okay.
What's the weather like at this point? Is it early spring?
It's early spring,
Yeah.
so it's relatively cold outside, but he's not going to freeze to death, probably.
I mean, I could give him my overcoat. I've got clothes on underneath that.
Okay. Then yeah, he, like I said, he greedily accepts it. He throws it on, throws the cloak across his shoulders. Everybody can go take the benefits of a short rest over the course of the next hour to
I have that
recharge.
spell slot back.
So you're ready to do the ritual again.
No,
6 more.
we're not doing that again for a while.
Over the course of the hour, as he'll empty out these 2 bottles of wine. He eats anything you give him. You see, he keeps kind of glancing over at Edmont, and he's becoming more accustomed to talking to Ekon and Evie. And over the course of the conversation, he tries a lot of languages, a dozen or more, but never lands on Darkanese or Ferniscan.
What about dwarf or elf?
Yeah, Elven.
Speaking to him in Elven, he speaks Elven, but a very different dialect than what you're used to. And you can find a lot of commonality, but yeah, you could speak to him in Elven.
I mean, Elvish is basically a theoretical language to us.
Yes.
Nobody in our world actually spoke it.
Like speaking like Latin or something.
Even
kind of a deal.
it would be more like speaking ancient Egyptian.
Yeah.
Sanskrit.
And like actually having a conversation in Elvish would feel extremely weird. But the man speaks it fluently, and after a few moments you can land on a dialect. And you can actually convey simple thoughts. There's a lot of holes in his memory. And you tell he's in like the process of filling those holes in. And he keeps looking at Edmont. He's regaining his strength relatively quickly. And at one point he asks again to Edmont, "Are you dying? Is it on my account?"
At this point, I'll point out I'll probably
live.
need a medicine check and know that he's just exhausted, unless there's something else there that I pick up on a medicine check, just in case.
No, he's
Genie-
very clearly just exhausted. He's not going to be able to
okay.
walk home under his own power.
Yeah.
I'll live. You're gonna have to carry me home.
We have Orson for that.
How far away? Orson's not here.
Oh,
You guys
Okay,
were
that
doing
might be
this
a
just the
problem,
5 of you. Well, the man asks, "Where is home?"
not far.
About 2
Just-
hours that way.
Does the place have a name? Is it a fortress? Is it a castle?
Silverbow. It's a village.
A village?
But it's got a nice keep.
It's very well. He leans down and offers Edmont his hand. And this time he's not thrusting his hand greedily. He's holding it down in the expectation that you'll take it.
I'll take it.
This man has great strength in his arm, and he lifts you up to your feet, whips you around his back, and hoists you up. If it's only 2 hours, I suppose I can manage.
Are we talking princess carry or fireman carry?
Which is more humiliating for Edmont?
What about
Princess
piggyback?
carry.
Probably fireman carry.
No, he's got him
Honestly.
around the back, so Edmont would be secured around his neck or upper chest. That the man himself is reaching back and holding Edmont on
So
right
it's
on
like
his
a
back.
piggyback ride?
That's a fireman carry.
That's a fire. Is that a fire? I don't know what a fireman carry is.
So princess carry is where like you're holding them like in front of you. Fireman carry is they're on your back.
And the princess carry, you have to ask every 10 seconds, "Dost thou love me?" That was a Dragon Quest reference, you guys.
Yes.
Okay,
But that must.
I got it. Thank you.
cool. You get a
We know
lot
how far
of...
we are from Tangerine Castle right now. Got it.
You guys get a lot of very strange looks as you come back to the village. This man nobody's seen before, dressed in a hodgepodge of Evie's clothes with Ekon's cloak, hoisting Edmont on his back. For his part, he seemed to have regained his strength very quickly, and he does not falter or complain once, carrying Edmont the entire 2 hours back to the village.
Genie is he amenable to answering questions while we walk, or does he want to walk in silence?
He is. He definitely doesn't want to walk in silence. You get the sense that this man loves to talk. The problem is there are holes in his brain. So a lot of the
Right.
things he says are just gibberish or contradictory. He'll answer any question you give him. You're not going to get a lot of useful information yet.
Right. Just Genie's making like small talk, trying to get like she's asking him like technical magical questions to see what he says. And again, like you said, just his hole in the brain not getting, but that's useful information to Genie currently.
Okay. Yeah, you get the sense that if he was all together there, he would be able to answer those questions with some lucidity.
And then I'll probably slip into asking him questions about the languages he spoke, and like identifying them, things like that.
He can identify some, but not all of them. He knows how to speak some of these languages, but doesn't remember where he learned them or...
And then I guess I'll ask him if he's ever heard of I forget, does the world we come from have a name?
It's called Myos.
I'll ask him if he's ever heard of Myos.
He hasn't.
My understanding is that you're from the world of Oerth. Is that accurate?
The mention of Oerth He stops his stride for a moment, stands in reflection. Yes. That
Could
is
you tell
where
us about it?
I became the Duke. My father was the Duke, but he died. And then he resumes his traveling.
Victor will generally try to get information about where he came from, what he remembers.
He describes the wilderness of his duchy. It was very sparsely populated, maybe 10 or 12 households of note. It wasn't a rich land in ore, but he speaks of it as though the place is poetry. He has this very idyllic version of the world. And it's almost difficult to come to terms with Aslan having come from a place like that.
Does he know who Aslan is?
He doesn't recognize the name, no.
Well,
There's some
Let's give-
important questions to ask him, but let's give him a chance to recover a little bit.
McDohl is sending me private messages during the session, which he knows is a no-no. You know that, don't you, McDohl?
I know, but I think you'll realize that this one is kind of important.
What do you do with him once you get back to the village? I mean, he will march Edmont wherever in the village you direct him to.
Probably get him a room set up in the
Bed.
keep.
Okay.
and get him some clothes and get him like if he's going to
A bath.
continue to eat, then well, like I can feed him whatever he wants. We can get him whatever he wants to eat and drink.
Yeah, I would say just set up a large meal in the common room of our manor and get a guest chamber set up for him.
Okay. So he drops Edmund in the bed, and as you guys are setting about to putting together this meal and getting a chamber set up, he actually goes out and bathes himself head to toe in your river, in the cool pre-spring water. And I mean, the spectacle of it, this 60-some-odd-year-old man just scrubbing himself in full view of the village. Evie, you have some very pointed questions coming from your villagers, to the extent of, who is this guy? Where did you find him? Why did you bring him here?
Victor will
Like,
try
get
and
in our river.
yeah, Victor's gonna try and get him back inside to a proper bath.
Jeannie's standing there with Evie, and she goes, "Well, we got him from the land of Nunya. Business, go away."
You know.
Hang on.
So the
We
question I
have some
want,
questions to ask him. So
the
that's
answer I want
saying-
from Evie right now is, in the first minutes you come back to the village, what's the story you give the villagers? It's okay to just say, Nunya, back off. If that's what you want to go with, that's fine.
all I tell them is I have questions to ask this man.
Okay. Victor, when you try to dissuade him from bathing in your crystal clear, freezing cold river, because you can draw a proper bath for him inside, he admonishes you and tells you he is taking a proper bath.
I'll suggest that he take it a little further away from the middle of the village.
He says he'll do it where he likes, but he'll give you the opportunity to move him if you think he should be moved.
I'm not gonna move him.
Manor probably has proper bathing facilities. A bunch of women live here.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, you would send a servant out to boil the kettle and fill a tub and have it dragged up to your chambers. Like, yeah, you can.
Yeah, he just didn't want that.
You hear Jeannie like yell at him, like, "If you stand underneath the water wheel, it makes a really good shower." Is what Jeannie yells at him, and she points over here.
So is that what Jeannie does every morning?
Meaning you sound like you're speaking from experience.
Victor supports his
It's a
decision. and
cold
tells him, yeah,
shower, though.
Jeannie looks directly at Evie and says, "I can neither confirm nor deny that I have bathed underneath the water wheel."
Do you make appropriate clothing available to him when he comes back into the manor?
Yeah, we have stuff that can fit him.
Oh, yeah, you can.
I mean,
can
Evie's a
all be
tailor.
tailored.
She can make it work.
No problem. And he graciously accepts whatever clothes you give him. What sort of game lives in these woods?
Deer, and I don't know. I don't hunt. All I know is that it's like don't kill the wolves.
The wolves are off limits.
Who eats wolves?
Exactly.
It's
None of
complicated.
us.
I asked about game, and you're talking about wolves.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
There's a good population of various deer out on the
It
woods.
doesn't matter. I'll need to string a bow and materials to fletch arrows.
You know, we have food here you could eat.
What do you offer him?
What do we have? Do we have any game?
Oh
We
yeah, you
have
guys.
game.
You guys have. You live in a noble manor house in a village that's doing quite well for itself. You can feed him
Well,
pretty much. You
elf,
literally have a
rabbit,
luxury bakehouse out in your village, pumping out cakes and pastries and things.
Is he actually doing business now? I would
Yeah, I mean,
think
I
that
would
this
just
village
say that,
is
like, we're gonna. I mean, I would think we would be setting like a fairly extravagant dinner, somewhat as
Yeah.
normal.
So it strikes you all as strange then that even though he's partaking in this fabulous dinner, and make no mistake, he does. He eats more than anyone else at the table. His wine glass is filled and emptied and filled and emptied and filled and emptied again. And yet he still insists he's going to string a bow. He wants materials to make arrows, and he wants information about what lives in these woods that can be hunted.
I'll point him to Orson, because Orson's going to be the one who's got information about that. And if he does go hunting, I would request that Orson go with him.
Orson basically immediately loves this guy, by the way.
Yeah.
I figured
and
he would.
he seems very similar to our father.
Well, no, he's been trapped for a while. He probably just wants to experience the hunt. So
So, like, I have materials in my workshop that would make a very good bow, and I'll like show him, and I'll go because remember, Jeannie is a woodworker,
Okay.
and she'll show him like all the little the silverwood planks and everything, and oak and whatever material that she has. Like, I'm pretty sure Jeannie knows how to make a bow.
Here's your next problem, Evie. The man insists on being referred to as the Duke.
The Duke of where?
He doesn't know.
Make something up. Otherwise, I'm going to refer to you as the Duke of Nowhere.
He thinks about that for a moment. Very well. Nowhere then.
All right.
And
Ah,
what
you've
name
got a name.
shall I... You are what? The Duke of Nowhere.
I'll let you know as soon as I do.
All right.
so for now, nobody Duke of Nowhere.
But when he's out in the village, when he's out and about, he always insists people call him the Duke.
As far as like, we'll pass the word on like to the village that as far as we can tell, he is a duke from a
Just say that he is visiting nobility.
yeah,
a visiting-
he is a
he's
visiting duke,
He is
Yeah.
not the Duke of New Warren.
but he is like a visiting. He is a visiting. No, he's a visiting duke from, and to treat him with respect.
Okay? So let's do this before we take a break for a little while. So over the course of the next couple days, as he's getting acclimated to the village, and you guys put him up in your manor house, and each of the five of you, in your interactions with the Duke over the course of the next few days, what is one thing that you're trying to either learn from him or get him to remember?
I want to find out if he has any spellcasting ability. He's supposed to be this powerful wizard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who else? I want to get an answer from each of you. Well, Jeannie, you were talking about like giving him a tour of your, like showing him all your materials and things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Seeing, I guess, just general knowledge and of technology from where he's from. You know, like how common is this stuff? Or is like where he's from? Is it ahead of where we were in Bernadine? Is it behind where we're at in Bernadine? Because we've kind of seen both. You know,
Mhm.
here
Okay.
here in Ravenloft.
And who's next? something you either want him to answer or that you want him to remember.
I guess Victor is trying to find out information about the people of Earth and the landscape, and try to get him to remember more about where he came from and who he is.
Okay. And that leaves Evie and Edmont.
And specifically how he ended up in that crystal.
Like, that's what Evie wants to ask: is how did he end up in the crystal? Who did it to him?
And Edmont?
Solitaire stole mine.
Okay, you could do that one, and I'll ask him about if he knows where he is. Did he come through the mist and someone put him in the crystal, or does he have no idea where he is and what this place is?
Okay.
Like, did he wake up in Ravenloft and he's like, oh shit.
McDohl, you seem very, very confident.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
I actually don't know that many characters from like Earth. It's
So
like it's
good.
basically just
We'll go ahead and take a 15-minute break here. And
Serac and Aslan.
it's a Serac. You got it. Good job.
Got it in one.